Hello and welcome
Welcome, Clint.
to the 30s podcast. Hi, Marcus.
This is the very first episode of what we're going to be calling the 30s. Called this the prototype episode, I think. What this is just two men in their 30s
Talking about it.
talking about being in your 30s, talking about how to approach life in your 30s, talking about experiences in your 30s.
Yeah.
Mixed in with some comedy, since we both have aspirations in comedy.
Yeah. And I don't know when I listened to the first comedy podcast, but it was maybe like 5 years ago.
Okay.
And I just was so drawn to it. Even before then, I realized I have this chronic thing where I start a podcast and then I don't do much more.
Yeah, you definitely have to be. It's something. It's like a muscle.
Yeah.
So you have to do it all the time. You have to actually be dedicated to doing it, and that is hard to do.
Yeah.
Especially if you work day jobs like we do.
Yeah.
I work 2 day jobs, so. Yeah, I think. The reason why we wanted to do this, or I can speak for myself. I just wanted to be creative.
Yeah.
It's because you said 5 years ago you started watching comedy podcasts or listening to comedy podcasts.
Yeah.
Probably were the same for me when it came to comedy podcasts, but I've, if you don't count Mark Maron, because he kind of goes all over the place, not strictly comedy, even though he's a stand-up. I've just like listening to people talk.
Yeah.
I have for a very long time. I think it probably comes from me being shy growing up. That I just like hearing conversation, and I feel like I learn a lot from just listening to people talk. Yeah, and that's kind of why I wanted to do this, because over the years, I've never really had a chance to say a lot of things that I want to say, because I got a lot to say.
Right.
As you know, because you know me, especially when I get going. What better way to do that than to start a podcast? And I think the best way we could do that is this: just talk about your life, talk about your aspirations, your health, mental health, physical health, because that gets tricky in your 30s. For the record, I'm 33.
Yeah, I turned 30 a few weeks ago.
So he's new to the club. So,
which is also like why. That's like a great title to me.
Yeah,
because I can relate to where like my 20s just felt like I was either running away from something or like pursuing something, but then not having the resources to do it. Because you're in your 20s, and I had all these fun jobs where you're getting paid like $12 an hour,
which is shit.
Yeah, like I can't believe I even had girlfriends, because like the whole time I was just I was relying on being funny,
right,
with the girlfriend, because I was poor, not like too poor, but like poor enough to where like I dated girls because you have an apartment. You have your own.
It's funny how having an apartment, having things makes you feel like you have status. Yeah, and it's absolutely not true. Even the apartment, like, you don't own that. That's just rent. Yeah. Same with a car too. You technically don't own it unless it's paid off.
Yeah, my first car. I had the car, but my dad co-signed.
Okay. So
he was able to use it whenever.
And it's still it's not paid off, so it's technically a loan, and depending how you got the loan, the bank owns it or the dealership owns it, so it's not even yours. You're still just driving around someone else's shit. Yeah,
and in the early 20s, I would date girls. That was when I dated girls around my age.
Yeah.
And so we're all just still either in college or avoiding college or having homework, like or dating Disney. I dated Disney pretty hard. And it's like, especially when you work at Disneyland.
For clarification, Clint worked at Disneyland, so that's what he means by date Disney.
Yeah, where you work there and you date someone else who also works there.
Yes. There's a lot of inbreeding going on at Disney.
It's either the best of times or the worst of times.
It's all how you look at it. In the moment, it's the best of times.
Yeah, you get to share a beautiful fireworks shot while working.
Upon reflection, it's the worst of times, but in the moment, it's the best of times.
Yeah, because then once you break up and you bring another girl to Disneyland, odds are they are going to want to go to the place that your ex works at.
Oh, yeah.
My ex went to a different department and worked on the Indiana Jones ride.
Okay.
And every girl I brought, they didn't even see the movie, but they were like, I want to go on that ride. And I said, I don't want to go on that ride. And they're like, let's go on this ride. And every time it was like, it wasn't the greeter, it wasn't the middle person. She was always the spot of like, how many people in your party? I'm like,
so you had to see. And it was all at the very end too. So there's that entire walk. If you've never been in the Indiana Jones attraction, it's a long walk.
Yeah.
So you, even if there's no line, it's still a long walk to get to the front. So that whole time, that anticipation of you like, that fucking bitch is going to be right.
and it's a long line.
She's going to be right there. She's going to be right there asking for how many people. And it's like, well, two. Like, you see me and this other girl. It's like,
every time.
oh, you're going to have to wait to the side.
It didn't matter. It was like, oh, I date some ice cream girl. Oh, she wants just that specific ice cream.
Okay.
And she serves it. And it's like, I can't eat this.
Yeah.
I can't go with that.
Anyway, back
How did
to
we get there?
I don't know. You just started going off about your girlfriends.
That was the 20s, and now I'm in the 30s.
Yeah,
and I feel like I could like, I'm more serious about stuff.
yeah,
Like I'm more serious about a job. So now I'm becoming a teacher,
right.
and it's something I never thought I would do. In my 20s, I pushed that away.
Yeah,
But now it's like teaching is the one place I can actually like work on performing.
it's just the way I kind of think about it is that the 30s it's game time now. Like your 20s are they're meant for you to fuck around and to just have a good time, not worry about consequences. Within reason. I mean, don't rob a place, like steal cars, but like eat whatever the fuck you want. Stay out all night. It's cool. I mean, I wish I saved money in my 20s, but also, that's so many people don't. So it's not that. I don't think it's that big a deal if you don't.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's just your 30s is game time. Even now I don't really feel like an adult.
Mm-hmm.
Too much. I'm only just now starting to kind of really put my responsibilities in perspective and focus on what's important to me. Like my physical health is really important to me right now.
Yeah.
Being creative, which is why we're doing this.
Mm-hmm.
Just it's just good for your brain to be creative. To just take yourself out of work, even though I do consider this work. Being creative is work, but just I'm not pushing for $1 here. I'm just here to have fun, and that's very important. And it's something you learn as you get older, is just make time for yourself to really just be creative, whatever outlet that needs to be. And that's this for us.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's really fun for the reason why I really wanted to do this as the 30s theme podcast is that I work with a lot of people of all ages. I also work for Disney. I'm a bartender.
Yeah.
But I work with people of all ages, and it's just so interesting to me that I see people older than me who are, I respect them and they have a lot of interesting things to say, but people that are younger than me in their 20s, and like just seeing them go out and just do whatever, basically what I just said before. And it's just it really puts things in perspective for you to be like, oh, like wow, was I like that back then? Yes, I was.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with it, but it's just interesting to see it and to just kind of reflect on it, because I think it really makes you think about things now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, okay. Like I said, getting older, you don't have to, but it's important. You're one step closer to death. That's a morbid way to think about it, but we all have one thing in common, and we have more than one, but one of the main things we have in common is death, and we're all just headed for the same finish line. So, depending on how fastly or how slowly you want to get there, it's you got to think about your life. And I feel like once you get into your 30s, your physical health, your mental health, your career, how you spend your free time, all that really starts to be something you really think about. And it's just interesting to really sit down and think about it and really talk to someone else about it.
Yeah.
And just, I think it's very fascinating to do that.
Yeah, and that's why I love podcasts, because I feel like I didn't get that from any other medium.
Right.
Like, podcasting is the only place where, like, they did talk about their anxiety, their depression, their trauma. And it's like someone you watch all the time, but he can't say that when he's on the Conan show.
Yeah.
He can only do it on the podcast, because Conan show, he had only like 10 minutes.
Yeah. So that, that's specific to entertainment.
Yeah, and that's stuff I consume.
Right, right. So should say I primarily consume stand-up comedians podcasts. I love stand-up comedy, or at least in the last couple of years, I've really, really gravitated towards it. Again, being in your 30s, I love stand-ups just because they can say whatever they want. Not whatever they want, but like you can say, like, you can just be real. And if you get a laugh from it, it's like, oh, that means it's real. Like if I were to make fun of, like, hey, your head looks funny or what, you know, something stupid, but you get a laugh, it's like, oh, that's real. Like, you know, it's something real. So especially now, you have to kind of censor a lot of your words and your thoughts. You have to police yourself a lot more when you really shouldn't. What's great about stand-ups is they don't have to do that.
Yeah.
And you're still going to show up and listen to them, or you're still going to laugh, or you're still going to have a good time. And because I consume, that's all. I don't watch TV really. I don't watch movies that often. It's rare nowadays.
Yeah.
I just listen to and watch, because I do like the video component of podcasts. I like seeing people. Yes.
Stare at camera.
That's all I listen to is just stand-ups. And also, like you said, it gets real. And this is like a format, a free-form format of just saying whatever you want. Like, it's different than having a small talk conversation with somebody in passing, or even at a party or a dinner, and it's just, oh, what are you up to? Like, work, it's good. And it's like, okay. And that's fine for what it is, but you know, this is so much more, so meaty, and it's so much more meaningful to really sit down and talk to somebody about what's going on with you, or what's going on with them, or what's going on in the world. And that's my main inspiration / drive for wanting to do this.
Yeah, I feel like I get so bored with small talk.
It's a fucking worst.
I can't do it.
Hate small talk. I've always hated small talk, but even now that I've gotten older, I'm just like, there'll be times where like someone will come up to me and be like, oh, like how's work been? Like, do you really care how work's been? Like that'll all run through my head, and I'm just, all I say is be very curt too, and just like, good, and then just walk off. You know, like it's the fucking worst. Small talk. I hate it.
I detest it. And when I hear it,
it's
and
funny
I can't
like
escape it.
Yeah,
that's my hell.
I don't do it to other people. If
I
have nothing to say to you, I won't say anything to you.
Yeah.
Like I'll say hi and then go on our way, but I'm not going to do the whole like, oh, like, what are you up to? Because really nobody cares. Like I don't really care if I'm making the small talk. The person who's someone else is making small talk, they don't really care. And like when you're responding to, it's like, it's just a stupid dance that is, I don't know why we do it. It's just something we've been raised with or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because conversation is an art, and I know that. But if you're not good at the art, don't do it.
And I like to think everyone's an artist.
They're not.
Some people don't practice.
They're not.
They don't practice their craft.
That's true.
And talking is a craft.
God, it's so. I first heard that on Mad Men.
Yeah.
Betty, you know Mad Men kind of, but Betty Draper says like her dad was a good conversationalist, and he would find his children like probably not a bubblegum runner, they don't want to say, but like if they made small talk, he'd be like, conversation is an art, you don't make small talk. I'm like, oh my God, that's why I first started like, oh my God, that's fucking true. Like if you're gonna just don't even say anything if you have to make small talk. This conversation is an art.
Yeah. And
you have to be involved in that. You have to feel something from it. So yeah, like the fucking small talk sucks.
Yeah, but I love that conversation is an art.
Yeah.
That's like
maybe that should be the title of this episode is, well, obviously we're going to call it the 30s, but you know, the prototype episode, conversation is an art.
It is an art.
Yeah.
And some people are not good at it.
Right. Some
And
people need to work on it too.
Yeah,
It's not just
yeah.
like you fucking suck.
It's like a muscle.
It is a muscle. It
Yeah.
is a muscle. You have to participate in conversations
going.
often in order to get good at it.
Yeah.
And you have to be able to read the other person too to see if they're interested or not. Or
Yeah.
sometimes you have to pull stuff out of people to get them to start talking. Because like me, I'm pretty shy. So when someone initiates conversation, I'm not always like, I won't get going. A lot of times they have to get it out of me.
Yeah.
But yeah, also what this is good for is that work on conversation.
Yeah.
Because even though I am, like I said, I am a bartender, so I do talk to people a lot, but it's, for the most part, it's not real,
Mm-hmm.
you know, because they're either drunk or it's just, that's just part of the job. You have to interact with people. So I would like to talk to people, talk to yourself, and
Yeah.
maybe we'll have some callers.
Oh, I'd love to talk to other people too.
Yes, we might have some
Yeah.
callers, so it'd be good to talk to them. And yeah,
Yeah, because throughout the years, I've had people who are really fired up about a podcast. And so I know that I can go to them now, but it's after we focus and get good at this together.
Right.
Then I could bring more people in. And then that'll just be that's a party to me. I
Yeah.
don't really like hosting a big party,
no,
my house,
I think
but
a small dinner
yeah.
party.
small.
8 people max.
Yeah,
And they all have to be very close friends because you all need to be talking to each other.
the whole time.
Right. I went to a dinner party 2 weeks ago at my friend's house.
Yeah.
And there were, I think there was 8 of us. There was 8 of us. And it was amazing
Yeah.
because we all knew each other. We all at one point worked together. Now, we don't all do now, but we've all been very good friends over the years. And we just have a really good rapport, and we're kind of like a family. And it was great. Like, it was my friend Andrew and his wife Arlene hosted us, and they made a bunch of food. I made cucumber guava martinis for
wow.
us, and they
That's
were
fancy.
fucking bomb. That was my first time making them, and I was a little nervous because cucumbers not really. Cucumbers are good, but when you mix them with alcohol, it's kind of weird because those flavors don't really mix that well unless you, like, I don't know, add other things to them. So, and they ended up being very good. We had a great time. It was a good night. And then later on in the evening, Arlene, who was the hostess, her sister lives with them, and she was coming over with some of her friends, and they're younger than us. They're like mid-20s ish. Not that much younger, but all of us were in our early to mid 30s. So she was like, "Do you guys mind?" And of course, no one's gonna say no, you can't have your sister over to your house. Except for me, I did say that.
No, it's got the
I
balls.
was like,
you have the
yeah,
balls.
I don't give a fuck. She was like, "Do you guys mind?" And I was like, "Well, are they gonna stay?" Because we were sitting outside. we had like a spread outside with tables, and I was like, "Are they gonna stay inside?" And she was like, "No, they're gonna come out here and eat food that we made." It's like, fuck, okay. And so they came, and it just immediately destroyed the rapport we had. And it was so they were nice people. I was nice to them. We were all nice to them. But it was so weird because we went back into that mid-20s mentality where they're like, "Let's do shots." And I was like,
Man.
"No, I don't want to." And I didn't, but they all know that I bartend, so they're like, "Do you mind making some shots for us?" I'm like, "Yeah, I don't care. I'll make them for you guys." Even though I did care, I didn't want to make them because if you're ever bartending a party, you're away for a sec, unless you're everyone's around you, you have a bar top, everyone's around you. You're away from the group a little bit because you're washing the glass, making it whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't mind making shots? Yeah, okay. So I made shots, and I made strong shots because I don't want to make more than one. So whenever I make a shot for somebody, I make them very strong, but I make them sweet, so you can't really tell.
Nice.
So I made a round of shots, and then the night just evolved into debauchery.
Ugh.
And I was like, fuck. It fucking sucks. It was such a good night. We had a fire pit going in the backyard, and it was very nice. And we had run out of firewood, and they have a wood fence, okay? And a part of the wooden fence was breaking off. So it was a plank that was broken off.
Yeah.
And one of the dickhead 20-year-olds was like, let's just use that for the firewood. I was like, you're going to pull off a part of the fence for a fucking fire? And because everybody's drunk,
Yeah.
I was feeling pretty good too. They pulled off a piece of the fence of the house where they live at to throw out of the fire. And that's when I was like, I got to go.
This is done.
Yeah, I got the fuck out of there. I was, you guys, I got to go home.
Yeah.
And it was just like, God, it's interesting how just being around. I don't know why I started talking about this.
That's cool.
But
That's
it comes
Yeah.
back to around to the 30s thing.
Yeah,
It's like
no,
as
it
soon as
does.
you get
Yeah.
like you bring that young party energy into it, it was like you can just devolve back into that place.
Yeah.
And it wasn't bad. It wasn't quote bad, because everybody was having a good time. But I mean, I wasn't like the next day. It was funny. We have a group chat, and everyone was like, "We're hungover," and it was like,
and they're in pain. And
Yeah.
They hate it.
yeah, and it was like, well, why did we drink that much last night? It's like, oh, because the kids came over and got us to drink. And like, because before that, we were drinking champagne and the martinis, so we had been drinking, but we
Yeah.
weren't like crazy until
Right.
the kids jumped in. But yeah, why the fuck was I talking about?
Freaking kids.
Yeah,
The kids, man. It's always the kids. The kids in their 20s.
yeah, yeah. Okay, I think we should get into
live
some.
like that. Let's do it. Let's
Do a topic that we did. One of the things we want to talk about today. Why don't you kick us off with something you want to talk
Let's see.
about?
Well, I thought we could, because I do like to talk about what's going on,
Okay,
because I think you have cool takes.
we do. We have cool
have
takes,
cool
and they're
takes
both
on
very
it.
different takes.
Yeah. So Elon Musk bought Twitter for $44 billion.
Okay. What are your thoughts?
And, well, I read something else that said he said he could fix our debt as a country
He also said
with
something about
$14 billion.
hunger, right? He wanted
Yeah.
to cure
He
hunger.
cure hunger with
Okay,
like $14 billion or something like that.
got it.
He's like, no. Instead, I'm gonna buy Twitter.
Yeah.
He has that Asperger's thing.
I know. I've
And-
seen him talk. Does he have
gonna buy
Asperger's, or is he
Twitter?
just
He does.
Weird.
Well, that's what he said on SNL.
so that was a sketch?
Well, it was the opening monologue,
Okay.
so that's kind of
So
truthful.
it could be a joke.
Could be a joke.
Yeah, okay.
Could be. He could just be. I'm the genius. I'm gonna go to the moon. I'm gonna burn the earth. Whatever.
Okay.
This is what I do.
Yeah.
But Twitter, what social media app would you want to buy if you had that kind of money?
I wouldn't want to buy any of them.
Anything.
I don't care.
No.
Are you on Twitter?
Yeah,
Okay.
I like Twitter because it gives you the news really quick.
Mm-hmm.
It might be the most up-to-date app because on Instagram, you could be looking at a photo and it'll pop it back up because you didn't like it 3 days ago.
Is that why it does that?
Yeah, because I for sure go,
I see stuff
Nah,
from
not
like
gonna
a
like
week
that.
ago or like
Yep.
4 days ago on Twitter. Not Twitter, Instagram. Like, why is this
yeah,
when I'm scrolling? It says this is up
yeah,
instead of something that happened an hour ago.
yeah. It's because you passed it.
Okay.
You
I-
passed it. And
also-
now you're gonna take the repercussions.
While we're talking about Instagram, did I miss the memo when Instagram became TikTok?
Oh, that happened like a month ago.
It did.
Like 2
I
weeks
noticed
ago?
it today that every
Yeah.
time I was scrolling, it was a reel. There
Yeah.
were no pictures.
Yeah.
Or I look at some shopping stuff too on Instagram, but it was none of that. It was just reels. And then I don't know if that's bad or I don't have a negative take on that, but
Yeah.
it's just interesting that like, oh, I guess we're doing this now on Instagram.
Yeah. And I hate it because TikTok is like they all have one joke that's like the same audio.
But they all
they
do
use.
different. It's like different people pull that. And
Yeah.
do their own little like fucking.
Yeah, but it's the same joke.
Okay.
So once you see the first joke, you're like, aha, she has a nice body. But then you keep seeing people in the towel trying to cover up that they have a nice body,
Right.
but they have like a
Because
baby
TikTok
face.
is trends,
Yeah.
right? Okay. I don't have
Yeah.
TikTok. I downloaded it for the first time a few months ago.
Yeah.
'Cause people bug me to get TikTok because they send me TikToks. I never open them because I don't want to be on there.
Yeah.
Another social media app I don't want. But I was on there for probably like 45 minutes just dead scrolling
Yeah.
because it's like, oh, new video. It's so palatable and just so consumable. And then after that, I deleted it because I was like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
It's gonna be bad.
I can't do it.
And I'm on Instagram Instagram's my big one.
Mhm.
Twitter. I'm on Twitter, but it's mostly just like art stuff and comedians.
Yeah.
I don't post anything on Twitter. I follow not that many people, and I'll repost like cool art, like anime shit, whatever, and that's it.
Yeah.
Maybe some smut too. But
Some smut.
yeah, but Elon Musk on Twitter. I've seen a lot of crazy reactions from people that are like, "It's the end of free speech," and then I've seen the other end of the spectrum where like, "Oh, finally, free speech." So I really don't have that much of an opinion.
Yeah.
I think it was 44 billion.
44 billion.
The amount is crazy to me. You would spend $44 billion on
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
But Twitter, like,
Yeah.
that's such a. I guess it's powerful in the fact that, free speech is valuable, and depending on where you fall and I guess the political spectrum, it's you have different opinions.
Yeah.
And you see things differently. So I don't know. I'm not that much. I'm not in it enough to know. I'm not in it enough to have a very good opinion about it.
Yeah. I don't think I like any app so much to where I would buy it.
Right. Well, the thing is, what's he gonna do to it?
Yeah.
I know.
What's he?
I have read some things where he wants to, because I know on Twitter, once you write a tweet, you can't edit it. You'd have to delete it and then rewrite it.
Yeah.
But if you send it, if you don't notice that you need to fix it, it's like, oh, people already saw you fucked up.
Yeah.
Or you have bad grammar, or you said something you shouldn't have. So that kind of sucks, I guess, not being able to edit what you wrote, just for like grammatical reasons. 'Cause if I have fat fingers, so when I'm texting, sometimes it's the wrong words come out, and it's very annoying.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know he wants to do that. And then I've seen, now that he's fucking bought Twitter, I get all these tweets from him, because I don't follow him, but they pop up on my feed.
Yeah.
And also just people having hot takes about it. And it's like he wants, like I said, free speech to come back. And
Whatever that means.
yeah, that's all subjective. It's just whatever if you don't agree with it, it's hate speech or what, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, it's just whatever your biases are, it's what it's going to play into. And I don't know. It just seems stupid to me that the whole, because Twitter itself is inherently stupid.
Yeah.
It's just people popping off on there. If you're not using it for what I use it for, which is memes and art and smut.
Smut.
It's
I'll
just
get some
it's
smut.
just you just have something to just talk right away, and it's
Yeah.
like, I don't know. I think lampshades should have their own, whatever.
Yeah. Union. Yeah.
Yeah.
The lampshade union.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
Let's see. We can move off to, so for my birthday, you and our friend Skylar were like, where would you want to go? And I said, here we go. And because I picked the 3 places that I've always wanted to take you guys to.
Okay.
The Warner Brothers studio tour that I worked at, the Smokehouse across from Warner Brothers, and the Comedy Store.
Okay. I think I chose the Comedy Store.
Well, I would have
remember
picked
the week
that
before.
Too. You said something
said,
about
let's
it.
go to the store.
Yeah.
And you were like, okay. And then I bought the tickets, and you're like,
Yeah.
since we're out there,
Oh yeah, yeah.
let's
and then
go
you
to
added
the
to
lot
it, yeah.
and do the smoke. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, go on.
And it's because that's a place I've always wanted to share, because Warner Brothers, even though I was a tour guide, it keeps the dream alive of creating, because you see the people walk by, and like, even if they don't say hi to you, it's like, oh, Christopher Nolan just walked by me. Or, Ellen's show just ended, and whatever people think about Ellen, it's like, oh, well, that show was crazy involved, and the whole lot was all about it. Conan was there, and like, even just those two, like, I love their comedy that they make. So even just being a part of his show was amazing too.
Just being around the business
Yeah.
is interesting. It's very powerful, because you don't like, even not seeing the people, but just being like in the prop house or seeing the sets, you're like, holy shit, like, this is where it's made.
Yeah.
This is where they do the stuff. And unless you're, like you say, you work there, or if you're not really around LA a lot, if you don't live close to LA, or you don't spend a lot of time in LA, it really puts it in perspective for you once you actually get on those sets or on that lot. And it's kind of interesting to wrap your head around that this is where it happens for Warner Brothers. Yeah, that was fun, that tour. I've never done that tour before.
It was great. And Casey, our tour guide, she was on my ride-along a lot, so you would do tours and the newer guides would watch you. And because as I'm listening to her, I'm like, oh, this is 90% of what I would say. So that part's crazy too, is because I'm like away from it, and to hear like your own tour being spoken, like the way that you would do it, it's like, whoa, like you don't think you make an impact, even if it's not like a personal thing. It's like, oh wow, I like sort of like impacted her to where like, oh, this is how she's gonna say it now.
Yeah.
So that was cool to see too. To know that, yeah, like she had to hear me to like learn the tour, but like people hear you.
Yeah.
Like what you do kind of matters a bit. And even if you don't think about it often, like someone else might be mimicking you or like emulating you in some way.
Yeah.
Which I think is pretty awesome. And then we went to Smokehouse, which Smokehouse to me is like, that's where like Frank Sinatra and the Rat Pack would go. That's like all the successful people would go there.
It was very much an old Hollywood place.
Yeah.
Just by how it smelled too. It just smelled old, and the decor was not updated, which didn't need to be. They walked in there and they had the pictures on the walls, and it was dark in there too, which is very. If you've never been to like the older parts of LA, a lot of the older buildings, the lighting's not great.
Yeah.
It's not that it's bad. It's just the way things were done. And that was cool. And when you told me that The Office shot there, that wedding episode, I was like, holy shit, this is it. This is what you saw. Which also, back to the studio tour, but this as well, once you see these things in real life and then you go back and watch something, and you're like, holy shit, I was on that set or I was in that location. And it's just it's a really interesting experience to know that the crew was there and the cast was there. And it's like they were in the same booth that I was sitting in.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
like they sat in the same booth. And I'm not one that's starstruck, but it's still cool that, like, oh, I'm part of. I'm not really a part of it, but I'm a part of it. You know, I'm here in this place.
You exist in the same space.
You exist in the same space. It's the same thing when you meet celebrities or you see them in person. Because you obviously saw them a lot working at Warner Brothers. I see them all the time working at Disney, and I've interacted with them sometimes because I've had to serve them, wait on them, and it's so weird. Yeah, it's like a lot of times everyone always says it, but like they're shorter than you think they are. Like I've had the opportunity to shake hands and hug celebrities too, and it's very strange.
It's weird.
Yeah.
It'd be weird.
Like, oh, I just shook Halle Berry's hand and she said thank you for like serving my kids or whatever. Like, oh my god.
Like, oh, she just hugged me, and I watch her like 2 hours.
I just saw you in that shitty Catwoman movie. You were fighting Sharon Stone in her impenetrable face. I want to be like, so why'd you do Catwoman?
So why? How much was it?
After you just left me a very generous 40% tip, why'd you make Catwoman?
40%. That's pretty nice. 40%.
Yeah. Oh, celebrities.
Ooh.
Okay. Here's the deal about celebrities when it comes to tipping. Actors and people in the crew, like the crew, always tip very well. Because a lot of them used to do that job. Yeah. They used to be struggling servers, bartenders, barbacks, whatever, bussers. A lot of them have worked in the food service industry, so they know how much of a fucking joke and a shit show it is. Athletes, musicians, I guess that's it. They're the fucking worst. Yeah. They don't tip.
Yeah, they don't care.
They either don't tip at all or they just tip very shitty. And they're very rude and they're demanding.
That's
and
true.
They want everything, and it's like, because they don't know. They're just used to having it all. They went from either having nothing like just being whatever, having everything really quickly because of their craft, whatever you want to call it. And they didn't have to do a lot of the in-between stuff. So they tip like shit and they treat you like shit. And not all of them, but a lot of them do.
Yeah.
Same for the actors. Not all of them, but most of them are very generous and very nice and very patient.
Yeah.
Too.
I can see that.
Yeah. But yeah, back to Smokehouse and
Smokehouse.
Warner Brothers. That was fun. And then the thing I looked forward to the most that night was going to the Comedy Store.
Heck yeah.
It's finally reopened.
Yeah.
And God, that was so much fun.
Yeah, and it felt open and normal.
Yeah.
I kind of didn't want to go until it felt like it did before.
Yeah. No more masks.
Yeah, because what's the point of...
You can't, I mean...
Yeah, you can
not
see their
laughing
eyes,
through a
like,
mask. Yeah.
squint, like when you smile through the mask.
Yeah.
What is that?
Like, do you have a look of disgust or are you laughing? Because you look the same. Your eyes look the same.
Are you going to puke or what? What are you doing?
Yeah. The Comedy Store was the best part because, like I said before, I'm really into stand-ups. And I had been to the Comedy Store a very long time ago, teenager, when I was not really into stand-up or anything. But since being really into it now, and just loving comedians, it just felt great to be in the place that I've heard so much about. And we were in the main room, not the belly room or the OR, but we were in the main room, and we got to go around into the back way. And you get to see the names on the wall from all the paid regulars. And it was just so cool seeing all these names of people that I know. I'm like, oh my God, that's fucking Andrew Santino right there. And that's Esther Kravitsky. Like, it was so cool.
And knowing all the names?
Yeah, knowing the talent, too. Because I didn't know all of those comedians, but we knew most of them. And just my Mark Maron story, I was fucking almost shit myself. All right, I have a Mark Maron story. Get ready. It's thrilling. So we got... when I bought the tickets for us, and I booked them. I paid for... I wanted to get a booth, but all the booths were sold out except for Mitzi's booth. And I didn't know what Mitzi's booth was. You didn't know what Mitzi's booth was, but it was the same price as the other VIP booths. So like, all right, it must be like, I don't know, in the middle or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I bought it, and it's not in a special spot really. It's just kind of the first one in when you walk in the door from the back. So if anything, it's the worst spot because you get all the foot traffic, right? So we got our booth, and we get our drinks, which that's another story. But this is about Mark Maron. So the show starts. The opener, or whoever opened the show, if you've ever been to the Comedy Store, someone who works there usually opens the show. Usually they have aspirations of being a stand-up, so they go up there just to work out for a little bit. Show starts. I don't remember which comedian was on, but it was one of the earlier ones. And I see Mark Maron walk in the room because the door is right next to the booth. So he walks into the room. I'm like, holy shit, it's Mark Maron. Right. And I know him right away because Mark Maron has a very distinct look. The hair and the fucking beard and the Jewy nose.
Yeah.
He's Mark Maron.
True.
So he comes in. I'm looking at him, and he walks by the booth and goes like into the room. He's walking around the room. I think he's looking for somebody. He must know somebody that's in the crowd. He wants to say hi or whatever. He wants to talk to somebody. He goes out through the front. He leaves the room. And then he comes back in again, like 10 minutes later, pretty quick. And he's still looking for somebody, and he looks into our booth. Yeah. And I make eye contact with him. He looks right at me. And he has a look on his face where he's kind of like he's looking around. He's looking for somebody. He looks right at me, and I look right back at him, and I just do like the nod thing, like I acknowledge you. And he does it back to me. He nods back, and I'm immediately like, I was just acknowledged by Mark Maron. Like, we're best friends now.
We go way back.
Yeah, he's gonna see me again and be like, hey, you were the guy in Mitzi's booth, right? Oh God, that was my highlight of the entire day, I think. Or maybe not the highlight, but that was one of the highlights of just like, oh my God, I fucking looked Mark Maron in the eye and nodded at him, and it was great. But dude, that was the Comedy Store was the best. We had a lot of fun, and Fortunately, that night it wasn't too crowded
Yeah.
like it was the next week.
Yeah. The next week we somehow
Because Rogan
Yeah,
was there the next
tickets
week.
because it was Rogan week.
Yeah.
weekend.
Somehow I didn't know that Rogan was going to be there. And we bought tickets for the early show in the main room. And lineup was fine. And it was interesting that they closed with Tony Hinchcliffe. Because
Yeah.
you know him and Rogan are like they're both from Texas, but now they're in Texas.
Yeah.
They're not from Texas. But yeah, I was surprised that those tickets weren't sold out.
Mhm.
And then remember when we left, it was just chaos outside.
Yeah.
So the bar was swarmed. People were spilling over the fence. Like it was gnarly.
They love some Joe Rogan.
Yeah, they love Joe
They
Rogan.
love that guy.
Yeah, I would have liked to see Joe Rogan. That'd have
Yeah.
been cool. Because he had good openers too.
Mm-hmm.
I saw I was on his lineup. Yeah, the Comedy Store.
I love Comedy Store.
It's great. It's
It's
great being
all-
in that building. And
Yeah.
like I'm a novice at writing comedy. It's something new, but I have started.
Yeah.
But just being in that room was like, oh my God.
Do you want to go over any jokes that you've written?
I don't know if I'm prepared to go over my jokes, but I would love to hear some of yours.
Okay.
I do have my one joke that I'm quite proud of,
Yeah.
that I told you about last week. It's
Oh,
it's
yeah.
a what do you call it joke. And it's what do you call a Jewish meerkat? That's the second reference to Jews today. What do you call a Jewish meerkat?
What do you call him?
A schmearkat. Oh, I was quite tickled with myself.
That was,
on that
well, that
joke.
was like my. I'll close with my animal joke.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so if you, what do you call a parent who doesn't ask how you're doing?
I don't know.
Dad.
Wait a minute. Before we get going, are these all going to be what do you call jokes? That's
That's
fine
it.
if
I
they
think
are.
That's what I did that day.
Okay.
I think that's why. So I call these jokes for fourth graders.
Okay. Oh, okay. You said that earlier. All right. Okay.
Jokes for fourth graders. So yeah, it's a lot of what do you call? I mean, this one's probably kind of weak.
Okay.
What do you call a student who goes to the bathroom to avoid class?
I don't know.
A party pooper. So stupid.
Okay, go on.
Let's see. What do you call Batman when he doesn't cover his sneeze? A super spreader.
That one's dumb.
That was dumb. What do you call?
Wait. Let's go back to that one. What is the joke in that one?
Just a spreader joke.
Spreader?
Spread like when you sneeze, you spread
Right.
COVID.
Right.
So that's just
So what does
Yeah.
Batman normally spread?
well, he covers it with his cape.
Oh, okay.
That's not the best one. Thank you, audience. Thank you.
Okay.
What would you call Batman if his parents didn't die?
I don't know.
Donald Trump.
Oh my God.
That one's okay. Ooh, I like this. Okay, I'll do two more.
Okay.
Last two will be animal based jokes.
Okay.
Okay. What do you call a bear who ate too much?
I don't know.
Obese.
Oh, beast.
Obese.
Instead of obese.
That's not good. Ooh, I like that. This is like trying out the bad jokes while getting used to the buttons we have.
That's fine.
Let's see. Oh my God. Call a woman who is carrying. No.
What?
What does it say? It says, what do you call a woman who is carrying more than half of the relationship?
I don't know.
Pregnant.
My God.
Good God. What was
That's
I
right.
thinking? And then, okay.
Okay.
Okay, this is the big one. What do you call a snake who has trouble reading?
Dump
Did-
dup. I know what it is. I was gonna say that too. Dyslexic.
Dyslexic.
These really are jokes for fourth graders.
Yeah,
Maybe,
those are
I'd
the
say
fourth
maybe
grade
second
jokes.
graders. These are a
That
little
was,
bit reaching.
well, because I have a few second graders who come up to me at school, and they're always like, "Mr. McKay, do you want to hear a joke?"
Oh God.
And I'm like, "Okay," because it's always from like those children's joke books.
Yeah. Yeah, the stupid ones.
Yeah.
Or even when I was a kid, those were lame.
Yeah, but they're like they love it, and I'm like, I will hear you tell me jokes all day, every day.
Okay.
'Cause I'd rather listen to that than hear about your day. I don't know.
All right, so let's move off of these fucking jokes. 'Cause
That was
they're
it.
not the
That
best.
was it. I'm done.
Okay, I do want to talk about something that relates to the 30s. Because let's try and talk about that a little bit.
Yeah.
Is I want to be more active in just doing things. Because a friend of mine had said recently, I think I told you the story, and they were talking about seeing a band play, and how it was they liked it. They go see band plays all the time. They see bands playing all the time. That's like a regular thing for them. But they think about like, oh, I wish I could have wish I could have seen, the Stones or the Beatles or anyone from the 60s and 50s, whatever, play. But I'm not going to be able to do that because it's not a thing anymore.
Yeah.
And that was in response to somebody telling them like, oh, I'm jealous you got to go see that. And he had articulated that, there's always going to be like, oh, I wish I could have seen this, or I wish I could have done that, something that happened in the past that you're not going to be able to do again.
Yeah.
So just now, while you're in the moment, go experience things. Like, I'm not talking about just music, but like go out to the restaurants you want to try, go see live venue music, go see stand-up shows.
Yeah.
Go to theme parks, go to like the Ren Fair was something that's happening right now that's like, oh, that'd be kind of cool to see. Go see stuff because it's going to be gone one day, and you're going to be old or you're older and be like, God, I wish I went to the fucking Ren Fair before,
Yeah.
especially after COVID. I think that's why it's so important now too, is that now that stuff's open again, like, fuck, I want to go do things.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to make an active effort now. I think we've done stuff like the past few Saturdays.
Yeah.
We both have to work and stuff, but I know we're going to be working on this. But it'd be fun it's fun and it's cool to go see things. And I've made a kind of like not a promise, but just like a declaration almost of like, I'm gonna start doing stuff.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start seeing things. Like, I know next week we're going to that jazzy what is it?
Yeah. So
Jazz concert / stand up. Let me see
Yeah.
what the fuck it actually is.
where we have to dress nice,
Cocktail attire.
nice, fancy.
Yes.
there's-
A night of stand-up comedy and live jazz.
Yeah.
Which I've never been to a live jazz show that I know of. I mean, I've heard
Yeah.
live jazz music, just like at a bar somewhere or in a restaurant, and it's always very cool. I've never been to like a jazz show.
Yeah.
So that'll be something to cross off.
Yeah,
my
that's
list
something.
Before if I ever have
Something
kids
to
one
do.
day, which I hope I don't, tell them, hey, I went to a jazz show once when I was younger and it was cool, or it sucked. But I'm going to go do that now and see that. And I think that's important. And it's something that you do learn later, too. Or for me, it's been later that I've learned that you have to go and experience things in the moment while you can, because they're going to be gone, or either your health will be gone one day if you don't take care of yourself. And
Yeah.
you're going to miss out on so many things, and there's no going back. I said
Yeah.
earlier, like we're all headed for the same finish line. It's just, how do you want it to be when you finally get there?
Yeah. I've been really focused on focusing on things that actually make me happy
Yes.
instead of what makes other people happy. Because
Yes.
I think I spent a lot of time going, oh, I want to please this person. I want to please that person. And then I always get burned out at a certain point. But
Right.
since COVID, I'm like, oh, I must really like comedy, because when I had like my lowest moment during quarantine, I was like, I guess I'm going to make a joke and stand up now
Yeah.
and keep going. And And so now it's like I know, oh, comedy's the main thing that like even if like you're faced with the worst case scenario, I still have that, and that's still around.
Yeah.
And so now I realize if someone I'm friends with or dating or whatever doesn't like going to stand up, it's like, okay, goodbye.
Right.
I'm going to go do these things that make me happy. And if you like that, cool, let's go. But I also like want to be a part of it and do something and then go to see stuff. Like I wouldn't have thought of going to see jazz.
Yeah, me neither. I didn't. I would have obviously a stand up, yes, but I just saw it on Instagram. It was an ad for the show, and I recognized some of the performers. I'm like, fuck, that sounds like fun.
Yeah, because it was the guy who was in Juicy Scoop.
Yeah, that's the name I recognize. I'm like, oh, that guy, I know who he is. He's pretty funny too.
Yeah.
So let's do that.
Yeah.
You know, I've never done, and I like getting dressed up. It's fun. The last time I got dressed up for cocktail attire was I went and saw Eyes Wide Shut at the Hollywood Theater, some old theater downtown.
Yeah.
But dude, like, I didn't know what to expect going into it, and I just thought it'd be like, you just sit in a room, sit in the theater and watch the movie, and that was a part of it, but it was just really fun being out. This was at Christmas time.
Yeah.
And it was just fun being out, and everybody that was there was dressed up because that was also cocktail attire. So I had to wear cocktail attire for school.
Nice.
Everybody was dressed up. The people dressed. Have you seen Eyes Wide Shut?
It's been a while.
So everyone was dressed up in those like masks. The what's it called? I forget what it's called, but what's the word? Whatever. People had masks on.
Oh, Masquerade.
Masquerade,
yeah.
Masquerade Party style, and like it was fucking cool. And that Hollywood theater, I've never been inside of it before, but it's old. It's still old when it was first built. It still was the same decor, same shitty lighting, like very cool experience. And I saw a friend there too. That was cool. And a friend that I didn't go with, I saw someone. I knew them there, and yeah, if I didn't do that, that's gone now. That night's not going to happen again. You know, they might do other events there, but it's not going to be a Masquerade style thing unless for some reason they decide to do Eyes Wide Shut again. But stuff like that, where it's like you just have to go do things.
Yeah.
So I'm making a pledge right now on this podcast that I'm going to start doing shit. Starting with that jazzy stand-up show. I've fucking found bookmarked restaurants and stuff that I want to go to.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, I'll make the same pledge. I want to go do stuff. So this is it's also an invite. If you want to go do fun stuff, you don't want to be boring and going to the same old places, and you want to hike and you want to eat and you want to go do stuff that matters.
Want to see the world.
Yeah.
And experience culture.
Yeah.
Whether it's good culture or bad culture, culture you're not comfortable with, that too is an important thing, is getting out of your comfort zone. Mm-hmm. That's very valuable too, especially you learn as you get a bit older, is that it's usually beneficial to be uncomfortable, to be thrown in uncomfortable situations or places, whatever. I want to do more of that.
Yeah. I think that's what the 30s could be all about.
Yeah, and that, stimulates and promotes growth, which is always great.
That's all I want.
That's all I want is
I
growth.
want to grow.
Growth.
Grow. I'm a grower.
Oh.
And that's how I end.
Okay, so I think we're going to wrap up our prototype episode.
Yeah.
This is kind of
Proto,
all over the place.
Beta,
We're learning.
alpha, beta.
We're learning here. We're learning. Not even alpha, beta. This is like sigma. Kappa.
It went to some crazy places.
Yeah, I think that's what's going to be, is that even if we have something set, it's going to go all over the place.
That's great.
That's actually what makes it good, makes it organic.
I think so.
Any closing thoughts for the prototype episode?
See. For prototype, yeah, I just want to keep growing. I want to keep moving forward, growing and showing. I want people to know that I work out.
Well, no. Oh, that too. About being in your 30s.
Mm-hmm.
You have to work on yourself. You can't eat like shit anymore.
I can't do it.
Night after night.
Nope.
In the middle of the night, wake up the next day and do it again, because you will start to see it on your body.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the fucking worst.
I hate it.
Sucks so
Yeah.
much. It sucks. Even now, like, I'm like, fuck, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
That wasn't there 10 years ago, 5 years ago.
I ate the school lunch today,
Ugh. I've just been eating,
and that was such
I've been
shit.
eating mostly vegetarian lately, just to like,
Yeah, try to.
it just feels good too.
Yeah, because that's some of the happy food.
Yeah.
All the food that's easy to get is the food that actually makes you sad.
Yeah. Yeah. I haven't had
I
fast
hate
food in a
that.
while. I haven't drank well, I had a beer last week when we went to dinner, but other than that, I haven't drank in like 3 weeks,
That's pretty
which will change tonight.
to celebrate.
But even that too, it's like you can't drink like you used to. That sticks on your body,
yeah.
and you just feel like shit. But
Yeah.
sorry, I cut off your closing thought. Go
Well,
ahead.
I've been feeling that. I've been feeling that on my body. I literally eat something, and I go, "Oh, this is why I'm tired.
Mhm.
This is why I'm sad."
I just
And
hate
that was literally
spaghetti. Fuck.
spaghetti.
Yeah.
Oh, done.
Yeah.
I'm out. Ate a Costco pizza the other day.
Oh shit.
Out. Done.
I had a couple nights ago. My dad had a pizza. Like, do you want some? I'm like, no, I don't.
Yeah.
I ended up having probably like half a slice of pizza, and I was like, God, I should have done
Yeah. I think I gotta start saying no.
that. Also, because of the cheese too. I can't. Even
The
I
cheese,
can't
man.
Eat
It's
cheese
the cheese.
anymore.
It's just cheesy bread.
Yeah.
That's what pizza is. It's so sad.
Yeah. Anyway, my closing thought. I echo all of your statements. That's my closing thought. Also, I'm excited to do this podcast. I know it was a little all over the place, and that's fine. We're learning. We're growing, and we're showing. What was the name of this episode? Conversation is an art. So
An
we're
art.
working on our art.
Yeah, and
Um,
honestly, it is because it feels a lot like if you're going to work out and you're like, "Oh, I don't know which machine to use. Oh, do I do this? Do I do upper body today? Do I do just abs? Do I run?"
Right.
And it seems like we had certain spots where we could go one way and then the other.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I could feel it.
It's learning. It's
Yeah.
growing and showing.
Yeah. Oh wow, it tells you the time over there. Like I'm still just fascinated by the
Yeah, we're all
soundboard.
we're both kind of blown away with the tech because,
Yeah, this is a lot.
full disclosure, the reason we haven't done this more seriously is that we don't have the tech for this, or we
Yeah.
do, but we just don't know how to use it. We don't have a quiet space to record. So now that we do, expect more of this.
Yeah, because I guess Blue Yeti mics are kind of bullshit.
They are and they aren't.
Yes.
They get the job done for what they can do,
Yeah.
for what they're made to do, and that's fine. They're not made for this. So
Yeah. Man.
So let's go ahead and you already said closing statements. So
Yeah.
thanks for being here.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Hope to do this again next week. Next week? Can we do it next week?
You on what do you do next Saturday morning?
I have to work in the mornings, and then we do the thing at night. We can do like bi-weekly maybe.
Yeah. Well, because next Friday will be when we go to the event, right?
Oh, that's right. I keep thinking it's Saturday.
I know. No,
Tomorrow
tomorrow is something we
I can't do next Saturday because I have plans.
can't do it. Maybe we'll see.
I'll figure it out. It'll be more
Yeah.
often. Definitely.
This place is called
Don't know. We're in an
we're not-
undisclosed
should we-
location.
No, but I really want to. One day we'll tell people where it is.
Yeah, one day we'll when this is something more coherent,
More real.
we'll spread the word.
Yeah.
Get these people some shout outs.
Some love.
But
not yet.
let's go ahead and call it. Thank you for being here again.
Yeah.
This was fun.
Thank
This
you
is
for
the
listening.
30s.
This
Conversation is
the
an art. Oh, God. We're growers, not showers.
Pause it.
Bye.
Bye.